in another sensational matchup that'll be a part of the November 25th card that will be pay-per-view, where David Benavidez takes on Demetrius Andrade. We're going to see the return to the ring of a couple of fighters who have been popular in the sport of boxing. And they're going to face one another in a super lightweight bout as Sergey Lipinets takes on Michelle Rivera. Now this is an interesting matchup between two super lightweights, because these two men have at one time or another been touted as possible potential champions at different points in their careers. So it may be considered a bit of a crossroads fight, but an entertaining matchup all the same, especially since Rivera has been outside of the ring for a minute. But more on that in a moment. But let's talk about this heady matchup between Lipinets and Rivera.
Suspense right now, ensuring that right left
Man, I am loving boxing in the year that is 2023. We continue to receive quality matchups at every waking turn. And this will be no different when Sergey Lipinets takes on Michelle Rivera on the undercard of a pay-per-view stacked card this Saturday, November 25th. These two men will undoubtedly have an opportunity to advance as a victor when this fight finishes. But who will be that guy? I'm telling you, a quality matchup this happens to be for a 10-rounder. So that means with 10 rounds to work with, both men have to get off to a solid start. And I'm not so certain that it's an assured thing for either man. In the case of Sergey Lipinets, he who has had multiple opportunities at intercontinental and international titles is still plugging away and hopeful of a title opportunity. And as he comes into this fight, he's bringing his record of 17-2-1 with 13 KOs. He's coming in here looking for the best opportunity. And at the age of 34, the clock is ticking. Lipinets is 34 years of age. He's an orthodox fighter who stands 5'7" with a 67-inch reach. His last fight saw him have a victory over Omar Figueroa Jr. But one of the fights that people remember most is his April fight where he showed down against Boots Ennis, and he was stopped brutally by Ennis. But the victory over Figueroa was in August of 2022. So he's been off the blocks for a minute, but that doesn't mean that the competitive edge is no longer there. Now, when we think about Rivera, he's coming into this fight after a bit of a layoff himself. And his particular record of 24-1 with 14 KOs sees him as a younger, fresher fighter in multiple ways. He's 25 years of age, an orthodox fighter who stands 5'9". He has a 71-inch reach and has been called the young Ali for coming into the ring wearing the robe and colors that Ali used to wear and the similar box haircut that Ali wore as a young man. But if you were to ask me, the Dominican looks more like Felix Trinidad than Ali. But I can understand why they wouldn't want to say that, because there's something between Dominican and Puerto Rican, and that's a whole different sort of business there. But Rivera, who we last saw in December of 2022 against Frank Martin, he lost a unanimous decision against Martin. And in that fight, he was dropped and had a terrible outing. Martin took the fight to Rivera, took away his assets of being able to jab from mid to distance and be lateral in his movement, as well as couldn't get his shots off against Martin, whose defense was pretty tight, and he just took Rivera's opportunity to get into any type of rhythm away from him, and Rivera showed no answers to that. And then to top matters off, it turned out that in the aftermath of the fight, he popped dirty for PEDs. So I do believe that some suspension has been a part of his inactivity since December of 2022. So coming back in this opportunity, he's going to want to make a statement. But what type of statement will Rivera make? Because as we look around the landscape of boxing, the sport has continued to move on without his presence. And he's going to have to decide exactly where he is. He's been a bit of an emotional character after the events of the Martin loss. He was very down and dejected, and I'm certain after popping dirty and hearing the news of that, the embarrassment that came with that was a part of his psychological dealings going into trying to formulate a comeback. So what will he have against an experienced veteran in Lipinets, who has been in against a stellar fighter as he tried to move all the way up to welterweight and was brutally stopped by Boots Ennis? So I'm quite certain that there's not much that Rivera can bring to him power-wise for what he's faced, but that wear and tear could prove damaging to the 34-year-old Lipinets, who hails from Kazakhstan. Now, my thoughts also are that Lipinets still is a tough hombre. He is known for being able to be a competitive sort in there. And let's not forget his nickname, Samurai. A pretty cool nickname if you ask me. But will he be able to be a Ronin against Rivera? That remains to be seen. With a couple of inches in height deficit, a couple of inches in reach deficit, Lipinets is going to have to look to get on the inside of Rivera, similar to how Frank Martin did. And will he be in proper enough condition to go hard for 10 rounds? Because you don't have the 12 to work with, you have to get off to an early start here. And I believe if he's able to get off against Rivera early, he may bring some sort of feeling of apprehension to Rivera. And that can prove the difference in this fight. But overall, Rivera, who prior to the Martin fight had exhibited confidence and assuredness in himself, is that still there? It remains to be seen. And if it isn't still there, if it isn't still a part of he feeling that he can get that job done, then it may prove that Lipinets may finally have the breakthrough opportunity that he's been waiting for. And I'm sorry, but I do have to lean toward Sergey as a result of that. Rivera could very well deal with Sergey very strongly and quickly because of his youth and exuberance. But sometimes a veteran fighter can put things together, even if it be for one night, and put himself in a position to get something done. And I'm thinking that's how things may work out for Sergey in this fight. But what do you think? Let me know. This is Stormy B-Man. Shout out to the mighty LDBC and Liberated Perspective, a third eye view of the world. For more content such as this, please like, comment, subscribe, and share. I think that this is going to be a pretty darn good fight between contenders that may be going in opposite directions. Let's discuss further. Let me know in the comment section. Peace to everyone out there, and everyone please remain safe.